In this video, we explore Colter Bay campground, have a birthday party, do a little bit of Jackson Hole. Of course, we have to hit Yellowstone, Tetons, and some of the surrounding area. Stay tuned. Colter Bay campground in that area is just incredible. There are a number of campgrounds in that area. These are within the Park Service, and you can tent camp, you can camp with your RV. There's cabins. There's just a multitude of ways to camp and lots of campsites, but they do book out. So you might get a couple days if you just are passing through and you hadn't booked. But if you want to stay for a week or more, you really need to book way in advance. The views there are incredible. You're right on the lake. There's also Jenny Lake and several of the surrounding. But I will say there is no Wi-Fi unless you go up to where the laundry room is, and they have a nice laundry mat there at Colter Bay. And there is no or very little cell signal. So if you're looking for cell service and Wi-Fi, it's sketchy at best, but absolutely beautiful. Close to go to the Yellowstone Park. You're within 20 minutes of the drive-in. You're right by Tetons. It's a great place to stay. Highly recommend it. We'd love to stay there. There was bears walking right through camp, which is either good or bad, depends on how you look at it. And that you have to be very aware of their activity there, and they make it very clear you can't leave anything out. We also celebrated my mom's birthday while we were there, so we had a good time. It was fun being there, and it was a fun place to stay. So look forward to going back again sometime. And you can even do boating there. Go out, they have a tour boats, and you have rent boats, or you can bring your own. Great place to stay. While we were there, since we're close to probably 30-40 minutes from Jackson Hole, we went into Jackson Hole and explored there, did a little shopping, went to lunch, just explored that area. It's, Jackson Hole is famous. It's a incredible, fun place to do. It's definitely a tourist trap, and the prices are not cheap, but, it's a great, fun place to go and adventure. We also watched the shootout there, which was fun, and just explored the area. Great place to go. The Cowboy Saloon is famous, and you certainly should visit that while you're there. Great place to go. Like I said, we had a good time. And the funny thing is, on the way between when you leave Jackson Hole and you're heading back up to the turnoff to go into the national park, that's where we saw the most bison. They were all beside the road. When you look over towards the Tetons and on the other side, they were absolutely everywhere. So it was a fun ride to go just to see the bison and the antelope and the elk. It was just great. And a big ranch of horses too. Of course, one of the main reasons for staying in Colter Bay was the proximity to Yellowstone and Teton National Park, and both are absolutely incredible. Yellowstone is, it's just stunning. You can't help but enjoy it. There's bison, there's elk, we saw bears a few times. We saw lots of different animals there, but fun driving through there. Watching the bison was pretty incredible. I have a fairly strong telephoto lens, so we were a good ways away from these. Don't get close to them if you're there. Every year someone gets hurt because they get too close, or they decide they want to go help a baby, and if mama catches you, she won't play nice. And also, if you touch a baby, if mama's nowhere's around, the herd will disown it, and mama won't touch it again. So they'll have no choice but to dispose of it. If you think it's in trouble, tell a ranger, but don't get out, don't get near these animals. The elk, too. They're everywhere, but they will catch you, especially if you have a dog with you. Just stay away from them. They're beautiful, magnificent creatures. Leave them to their own and let them have their own space, because it's their park, too. But the views there are incredible. Of course, we went and watched Old Faithful, and we went to the Old Faithful Inn, which is incredibly gorgeous. Just walking around through there is incredible. So definitely stuff you have to do. But we were there in July, and the weather was cool, but the crowds were, there was crowds. It's a busy place in the summer, which is the only time you really can visit and everything is open. But the drive, you just plan on being patient and parking, finding parking spots. Plan on having to wait in line, and some of the events or some of the features there and the spots you want to stop, you're going to have a hard time finding a parking spot. Be aware of that and just understand that. And you cannot take dogs off more than, I think it's 20 or 30 feet off the road. And there's reasons for that. For safety reasons, you don't want a bear will catch a dog in a heartbeat, and anybody attached to it, as well as there's things to fall into, and there's dangers, and it's against park rules. So we had to be very careful with taking the puppies and not leaving them where we didn't want them to get hot, but we also couldn't take them off the road. You can't do any trails with the dogs, so just be aware of that. When you're coming from Colter Bay, you're coming in the south entrance, and then we went, took a left, went to Old Faithful, then went to the Midway Geyser Basin, which was absolutely beautiful, but parking was a nightmare. So we could see that stuff. You need to get an early start, and just, like I said, be aware of the crowds. It's a beautiful drive, and just staying on the roads and jogging around is incredible. But around West Entrance, it is really, really busy with traffic, or it was when we were there. So it's a little less crowded up near the Canyon Village area, but that is the area where you could probably drive a camper through the West Entrance and out the South Entrance when we were there without a problem, other than the traffic. But the up near Canyon Village, there's some pretty tight curves and bridges. Our camper would not have worked well going over that area. So we could have come through the West Entrance and out the South Entrance, I think, without any issue. But the other areas, the fishing bridge and all, gets a little tight. There are some beautiful drives there and incredible views. It's just stunning. It's amazing to see, and definitely worth, the traffic and the frustrations of all the traffic. It's definitely worth it. So we enjoyed a lot seeing these geysers. We did do the drive all the way around, but that makes for a very long day, especially with 4 dogs in the car, and my mom. But that worked. Everybody had a good time, and we made several drives through the camp trying to see all the sights. So it was more than a one-day drive for sure for Yellowstone. You can definitely spend a couple weeks just exploring Yellowstone, especially if you were hiking. We don't do much hiking, especially putting with the dogs, but beautiful, beautiful area. And there is also one of the rivers that has hot springs where you can actually supposedly go swimming. I have had directions of where that was, but that wasn't something we were able to do while we were there, but definitely a pretty area. There are a couple places within the park where you can get fuel. I won't say it's cheap, but it is fuel, and if you need it bad enough, you'll be glad to have it. Also, there's a couple places you can get food, but we wound up packing our lunch most of the time. The food in any national park isn't normally great, and because they kind of have a captive audience, so it just seemed to work out better if we just packed our lunch. We did take one day and just drive around the area to see the surrounding, outside of Jackson Hole and around the loop, over towards the Teton Village. Um, Beautiful area. The the drives are incredible. Again, it was really crowded while we were there, but still fun, still well worth it. And we just explored and seeing the sights in that area. That is also over towards Teton Village is where we were able to see moose, because we saw several bears, and there was even bears walking through Colter Bay, but we were having a hard time finding moose, but we did find some out on the drive towards Teton Village. Here we're driving into Canyon Village. This was a little tighter driving, would be hard for a camper or a large vehicle, but beautiful. The area is gorgeous, and there are elk everywhere. But like I said, give them their space. But the mud pots there, the drive, absolutely incredible. But this is a couple-hour drive at least from Colter Bay, so it's 2 or 3 hours depending on how much you stop. Before you get there, but well worth the drive and was absolutely gorgeous. It's near the north entrance to Yellowstone. This was part of the wildlife loop, and it is absolutely a beautiful drive through there. We did see a couple bears. I don't think I got any of them on video or on any photos of them, but beautiful drive. Just seeing the sights and the wildlife and lots of bison, and just the views were absolutely incredible. And it was a lot less crowded than you get way more crowded near the west entrance and right in Canyon Village. Once you get outside of that, it's not nearly as crowded. We had an amazing time around Jackson Hole, Yellowstone, Tetons. Just a beautiful area. Definitely want to go back and explore some more now that we have a little better idea of what's there. Because if you've never been, you don't really know what's there. I had been once, but many, many years ago. So definitely look forward to going back. Next, we're heading to Kirk Dowdy State Park and the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo. So stay tuned.